And that is why I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello.
Hello. I'll move the mic a little bit closer to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. Perfect. So I want to talk more about your film. I'm so sorry we couldn't get more people coming to your screening tonight. But
Very small room.
Independent film and COVID, yes, it's hard to get more and more people to the Q&A portion, but several people stayed.
Thank you, and thank you.
Yes. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your film.
Yes.
What is it that made you, let's talk about the title, yes? Yeah. The title, what made you want to start with, oh my God, I'm drowning, please let me drown more?
Yes. It wasn't obvious?
It was obvious to me.
Well, okay. This is the sort of baseline concept for the film. Jaws is one of the most popular films ever made. Very impactful.
Have you seen Jaws out there? Yes. Classic. It's not independent, but we'll let it go.
And people said it was so effective because you saw the shark for only moments. You barely see the shark all the way up until the end, and then all of a sudden, it grabs the man. or it grabs the lady and goes, like this in the water. What would happen? How much more effective would it be if there just wasn't a shark?
And therefore you showed nobody drowning in the entire film.
Yes. Well, people drowned.
Yeah, emotionally? Emotionally. Yes. And the performances, how did you convince people that are supposed to be going through circumstances that are rather egregious? Family trauma, workplace trauma, but have almost no, I shouldn't say almost, absolutely no emotion showing through the entire film.
Well, it links back to the idea. The less you show of something, the more effective it is. Originally, this was going to be an adaptation of the short story, I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. And I just took that very literally. I thought that was a very literal adaptation. I thought, what would happen if you didn't have a mouth and you needed to scream? You just wouldn't scream. Ipso facto. Yeah, you wouldn't
and the
scream.
sets were amazing in that there weren't any.
Yes, well, I mean, it was all shot essentially on green screen. Because in the COVID environment, the only place we could shoot was in my lounge.
Yes, and the choice to keep it green the entire time.
Yes, well, of course, we just coincidentally had a green lounge, for which we could then alpha key, things into. And then we thought, this is just quite nice. And so the layers of it, that sort of flow from that. What would happen if people were just in a green environment? What if we took away the illusion? What if the same thing carries across to the less special effects you have, the more effective they are? So that's why there is the character of Siegfried. Who's the Firefly?
The Firefly, right at the very beginning.
Yes.
Siegfried coming in and
Comes
saying,
in through the window.
yes, I need a job.
Yes.
And smashed, destroyed.
Instantly killed.
Saved
an enormous amount of budget.
I was really blown away by that moment. I mean, many people were blown right out of the theater.
Yes.
So he coming in there, and that's when we learned not much more. Tell me about that.
So it works in zones. That's how I divide the movie up into zones. I mean, you remember the first zone?
There's the screen over here on the left.
Yes.
Yes.
You can look there. We have the lounge, we have the Firefly. We then move to the kitchen. The kitchen, we then take you out of that because everyone is behaving like sailors. Why sailors? Why sailors?
Sailors.
Kitchen, sailor. I made the link. I think the audience did too. They have a discussion, of course, about household economics, the gender imbalance, things like that. And then one of them goes rogue.
Yes.
She is the pirate. She leaves the kitchen, goes into the hallway. What is in the hallway? The Roomba. The Roomba in the hallway.
And that was your actual Roomba?
That was my actual Roomba. That just happened to be cleaning at the time when we were filming, and we just sort of folded it into the narrative. The Roomba, of course, represents, the increasing encroachment of AI and robotics into people's jobs and lives and things like that. And so, in that moment where she thinks, no, I'm not going to be caught up with the human drama of, economics and household politics and gender imbalance, she thinks, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to leave, and then immediately gets targeted by the Roomba. Immediately, the Roomba rushes towards her down the hallway. We have that beautiful trombone shot. The background comes and we see her shot.
Yes. And you can see the background coming closer, but it's green, but you can't actually see the background because there's no background.
Yeah, do you know how that works?
Yes, the way it works is you keep a camera exactly still and nothing happens.
No. In this case, we move the camera towards the subject and we zoom out at the same time.
Right, but there's no evidence of that because there's no background.
No, exactly. Exactly. You do not know that the trombone is happening. All you know is that the Zumba is getting closer. And she has less and less emotion as her terror grows. The less emotion she's showing, the more terror she feels. And this is not an unusual idea. In our everyday life, when we feel our most powerful happiness, fear, terror, love, we tend to suppress it, don't we? We tend to suppress it the moment we're the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Expression goes. Exactly.
I'm so scared.
And then, of course, we see the Roomba attack. And by attack, I mean bump lightly into her foot. And she flips it over very lightly. And it's on its back with its little sweeping things, like a beetle.
Like a beetle going around.
And we strobe that between the image of an actual beetle and the Roomba.
Yes. It reminded me of childhood.
Yes.
Just being alone and helpless.
Yes.
And all you do is cry and scream and show all the emotion that you have inside. And the Roomba had no emotion.
It has no mouth, but it must scream.